Hello guys and welcome back to Big Brother Week 6, and we have a very exciting week to talk to you about. Now, I am still not at my current setup, so apologies for all of the audio issues, the fact that it looks a bit shit, but I'm still trying to keep up to date as much as I can because I don't want to fall behind and I don't want you guys to go without my thoughts for too long. So if you guys are enjoying them, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. I'm taking time out of my holiday in order to give you guys my thoughts and feelings. But anyway, thank you guys and let us get in to the episode. Let's go. So with Zach gone, Vince is particularly upset. I don't think he expected to be sitting against his number one ally this early on in the game. I think he expected it to happen at some point during jury, but that's just how quickly this game can turn on its head. His side of the house has not had power since week 3, and even then, they took out one of their own, so did they really have the power in the house? I'm not entirely sure, but all I know is that Ava's week was a good one for the house. We got rid of Zach, we should have got rid of Vinny, but you know what? Is what it is. He's causing a lot of trouble this week, let's just put it that way, and I'm particularly incensed about that. But anyway, he said that he was only a couple of pieces away from winning, and from what I remember of that blockbuster, he was not. He absolutely was not a couple of pieces away. So, you know what, Vinny? Good attempt, but let's keep it on the down low, please. I mentioned in the previous episode, but Mickey is playing a very dangerous game. She's talking to Morgan, Ashley, Will, and Ava as well. And all of them are being told that, I think Rachel needs to go next. I think Rachel needs to go now, etc, etc. And I'm sitting here going, Mickey, aren't you meant to be Rachel's ally? Why are we switching up allegiances like this? Like, what's happening? Do you know what I mean? What's going on here? Because your current game plan is not working out for you. Because not only are you saying this to all of Rachel's allies, but you're also expecting them to not feed this information back to Rachel. And that's exactly what Ava does. Ava does go back to Rachel and goes, hey, by the way, Mickey is coming after you. Honestly, I mean, at this point, Mickey's been getting very personal with her vendetta against Rachel. There's been comments about family. There's been comments about her children, her husband, literally everything. And I feel like it's unwarranted and it's unfair. From what I've seen, you have made yourself into the victim in this situation when you are the one that nominated and got Jimmy evicted. So you're wondering, what has Rachel got against me? You got rid of her number one ally that was also a number for you. So what are we doing here? What are we doing? And currently, this week, we're running a numbers issue where we don't have enough people to get rid of a certain person in the house. So if you hadn't have got rid of Jimmy, then maybe we would have the numbers to do what we wanted to do this week. I mean, honestly, Mickey is absolutely ridiculous at this point. I've really lost all respect for her. So the head of household competition this week was an absolute doozy, and it's my favorite kind of competition that they've done. I remember back in BB25, they did the Nether Gorgons Nether Region challenge where they had to run around and they had to find out which spaces were safe. I think this was a much fairer version of that challenge. I remember that one being ridiculously biased towards the people who are able to run faster than others. And I think this was definitely a much better setup. I mean, this time you could have as many people as you wanted in a room rather than just having random spaces outside of areas. I feel like that was designed to cut it down, but then it was at the detriment of people like Felicia and Sari, who are not as quick runners as people like Heisem and Jared. So this competition, there was no speed needed whatsoever. It was just choose the correct room. And I actually really liked that. I loved the set design. I loved the vibe of it all. The party slasher, great idea, really fun, really exciting, and just an absolute 10 out of 10 masterclass for an HOH competition. Honestly, incredible. And the fact that Rachel won it, gorgeous, incredible. I mean, do we need to say anything more? Rachel is our head of household. Do you know what? She's safe for another week. 6 weeks, being a returning winner and not even meeting the block in 6 weeks. That is sensational. So I want to talk about a budding friendship and a new final two called The Frenemies. And this is Rachel and Keanu. And I have to say, Rachel and Keanu are two people that I never expected to work together. However, I'm very excited to see them work together. And I actually think that they're going to be very, very interesting to, I don't know, just watch and see how they work together, because I just can't see it working. I can't. He is a very stubborn player and he's very set in his ways. He's very much like, I know what I'm doing. And she's like, yeah, fair. But like, you've gotten it wrong like a lot of the time. And he's like, oh yeah, that's true. You are obviously a winner, so I should listen to you. But I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to myself. And I sit there and I'm like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, actually, what are we doing? Please sort yourself out, please, because I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this tomfoolery. Please back it up and let's just try and work with Rachel. I mean, this is going to be a recurring theme this week, so stay tuned for that. But either way, I find Keanu fascinating. I didn't think I'd like him coming into this series, but I have really grown to love him, and I definitely want him to make jury at the very least, even though half of the house want him gone immediately. But I think that he's a prime person to get out during a double or a triple eviction, purely because it's less time for him to try and get himself out in challenges. If they backdoor him in jury, he is going home. Whereas there's still the BB blockbuster before jury. Why would you want to put him in that position? He's already won 3 vetoes and a BB blockbuster. Do you really want to put him in another position where he can win that? No, he needs to be a backdoor option later down the line. Speaking of someone who thinks that they could be a backdoor option, is Vinny. I mean, this was hilarious. This is just a little tidbit to add on. But Vinny said to Rachel, can I not be backdoored? Can you at least give me a chance to gun for veto? And she went, I love how you think that you're a big enough threat to be backdoored. I mean, gag him. Literally gag him, because that was the funniest thing I've ever heard somebody come back to the, could I please not be backdoored? Do you think you're that important? Nah, mate. Nah, you're not important at all. So obviously, there's a lot of interesting things going on when it comes to Mickey. Like I said, I don't think she's playing a very good game. I find her frustrating. She went to go talk to Rachel and was basically like, yo, level with me. Are we okay? And Rachel's like, no, you got rid of Jimmy. You didn't even talk to me about it. You didn't say anything. You just got rid of him. You just nominated him and he went home. Why would you do that? Why? Oh, well, none of her excuses were good enough. And basically, Rachel was like, yeah, I don't trust you now. And there was something that Kelly had said to Rachel, or Kelly had been told by Rachel and told Mickey. There was some kind of go-between between Kelly. Kelly is a little snake. Kelly's a little pot stirrer, is what I've noticed. Kelly likes to go between people, stir the pot a little bit, and then run away and act like she never did anything. And I respect that gameplay to a extent, but I do think when you are on the outs in an alliance or in the house, doing that kind of thing is incredibly dangerous. And personally, I wouldn't be doing that. I just couldn't be. So, I don't know how I feel about that. So finally, we have Rachel's nominations, and I have to say, she kind of cooked with them, I can't lie. She kind of cooked, she kind of slayed, she kind of did a fantastic job. She nominated Mickey, Morgan, and Vinny. Now, at the start of the week, I'm thinking, yes, absolutely, let's get Mickey out of here. We're going to talk about what happens later down the line, but for now, let's get Mickey out of here. Let's go. Vinny, like I said, small fry. Morgan, small fry. Mickey, big fish. Let's get her out of here. And the way that she described it was Vince is the guard. If Vince is a gardener, then Morgan's planting seeds. And I was like, Rachel Reilly. Great speech. Great, incredible speech. Super impressed. And then with Mickey, she was basically saying, you think you run this house, And you don't. You're sorry, you don't. You can't even win a competition. You just had a secret power from a game, and that's how you got your head of household. Can't even win a competition. Boo-hoo. But either way, lots more to happen this week and lots more to talk about. So, with the nominations now in place, it is very, very important to talk about Mickey's reaction to it, because Mickey's reaction was anything but cordial. And I have to say, I feel like she's really taking being on the block as a very bitter Betty. I feel like some people, they don't react well, but equally they don't make digs about people's families and about people's personal things. And I just feel like it's bad sportsmanship at this point. She started by talking about the fact that, Rachel's exactly who she was 15 years ago. But from what I understand, you haven't seen her seasons. You don't know what she was like 15 years ago because you didn't watch her seasons. I'm fairly certain the only people in the house that have are Lauren. So, what are we doing here? Actually, what are we doing? Everyone's like, I'm a super fan. But like, have you seen all the seasons? No. Can you call yourself a super fan? No. I don't consider myself a super fan because I haven't seen all the seasons. I'm working my way through them, but I haven't seen them all, so I can't consider myself a super fan. This is what really pisses me off about some people in the house. They're like, I'm a fan of Big Brother. Are you? Because you don't even know Rachel. I know Rachel, and I haven't even seen her seasons. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, her comments were just really, really poor. She made loads of digs about Rachel's family as well, and I just think it's unwarranted. And she was also pissed off about Kelly saying something along the lines of like, welcome to the party, which, as far as I'm aware, is not offensive or rude in any way, shape or form. It was just Kelly being like, welcome to the block, I guess. Like, I've been on there 4 times now. I don't feel like it was a dig or it was meant to be nasty, but you seem to take it in a nasty way, and now you're just pissed off and upset. It's because she thinks she's playing a better game than she actually is. There was a moment where Will got an entire segment to himself, and honestly, I think that Will potentially could be in the best position in the entire house. Nobody dislikes him. Nobody's against him. Everybody really respects and likes him. And somehow he is drifting through this game, being a part of like everyone's alliance. I don't think he's a floater because he's a part of majority alliances, but I think he is definitely sort of like coasting a little bit. But then again, he has already been on the block twice, so I can't really say that, do you know what I mean? He's just chosen his allies really, really well. And there's an entire segment where basically it's just him not listening to people and just zoning out of conversations and thinking about his, what did he call her, a chocolate drop or something like that? Either way, it's fucking hilarious. It's so amazing. It is such a funny thing to see, just Will being like, yeah, I cannot be bothered listening to these conversations. These guys chat the most. They chat the most waffle I've ever seen in my whole life. The most waffle. And you know what? Fair and valid, because they absolutely do. They absolutely do. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm thinking, hang on a minute. What are you doing chitter-chattering like this? And Will's just sat there like, yeah, We've all been in those conversations. We all have. And we all have those automatic responses. No, he didn't. Oh my goodness. Wow. You just got to get on with it. And the fact that he's talking about the difference between active and passive listening and how everybody trusts him, but he's not even listening. And there was a moment where Morgan is talking to him and you can see he's like zoned out, and she's like, oh yeah, I find it really frustrating when people aren't listening to me because like, why are you even engaging in the conversation? He's like, yeah, I agree. It's just so ironic. I think the start of this week was a really, really bad time to be a fan of Ashley because Mickey was put up on the block. Ashley wants to keep Mickey around for her game, and she was trying to hard sell it to Rachel, and Rachel was just having none of it. And this whole conversation was just so awkward. I remember reading it on my like feeds tracker where they like write out all the transcripts. And I was just like, this is so jarring. You are going to bat for somebody that would not go to bat for you. Like, I appreciate that Mickey did go to bat for Ashley in the previous week, but let's not be sugarcoating that. That was Mickey looking out for her best interests, not the best interests of Ashley, whereas I feel like Ashley is looking out for the best interests of both. And so I just found this incredibly frustrating, if I'm being honest. I think Ashley, You deserve better allies than Morgan, no, Mickey. God, why did they choose to have two people allied together, both with M names? It's so confusing, and I get them mixed up so easily, because I know who I'm talking about. I just can't pick the right name. So jarring. Yes, Mickey is on the block with Morgan. That also is not helping this week, let's be honest. Oh, God. And then the funniest crown, the icing on the top of the cake, was the fact that the entire conversation took place with Ashley having toilet paper hanging out of her ass. It was brilliant. It was absolutely incredible. It was so fucking funny. It was amazing. There was a moment on the feed that we saw this, and they literally went, this is going to make the episode. I can already tell this is making the episode. And I just find it so funny that they're able to be like, yeah, we know exactly what's making the episode, because that was too good to miss out on. So, OTEV, it was a good challenge this time. We had a very disappointing OTEV last year with the fact that it was over in one round. I don't understand whether the questions are getting more difficult, because I do not remember OTEV being over in like 1, 2, 3 rounds. I remember it going all the way up until 2 people, and then the slowest person loses each time. But the questions seem to be getting harder. People seem to be forgetting, I guess. I don't really understand. So I am finding it a little bit frustrating. But either way, this challenge was a good one. Lauren was playing along with Will as well. So with the 3 nominees and Rachel, that was 6 people. Lauren, I completely forgot she was in the house. I'll be 100% honest, I completely forgot she was in the house. She's barely had a confessional for the last God knows how long. I mean, literally could not tell you the last time I even saw her in the house. I feel like her and Kelly are not getting edits at the moment, and so I just don't care for them. I feel like there's a lot of people online that really love Kelly. I just don't get it. I really don't. And like for a long time, I thought it was a joke. But then there's people like cutting for her and then like healing for her, and it's weird. It's really, really parasocial behavior, and it's something that I can't get on board with. But anyway, moving on. OTEV was great. I think Will was out in the first round, Vince was out in the second, and then everybody lost in the third round apart from Lauren. So Lauren ended up winning OTEV, which I have to say, for a super fan, I'm so, so happy for her. But knowing how indecisive she is, the worst possible person to pick to win this veto, let's be honest. So this is where things get really, really tricky, because Rachel does not want this veto being used. And honestly, I don't blame her. I don't want the veto being used. This could really muck up the plans this week. This will definitely ruin the world tour, and I'm not happy about it. But Lauren, she's been a classic indecisive self. She's like, oh, I don't think I'll use it. 10 minutes later, oh, I think I will use it. Oh, I don't think I will use it. And she's bouncing backwards and forwards between Rachel, who is doing her best to break up any kind of conversation that could potentially be about using the veto. She broke up conversations with Morgan, with Mickey, with Vince, just by walking in the room and just being awkward. And it was so unbelievably funny. And I had to give her props where props are due. Rachel knows how to play this game. She knows how to apply pressure. And there was a point where she was like, yeah, I'm not happy about this, because Lauren came up to her and was like, oh, I'm thinking of using it. And then she walked in on a secret meeting between Morgan, Vince, and Lauren in the storeroom and basically was like, what's going on here? What's going on here? You got something to say? You got something to say? Okay, cool. And then Lauren walks out and she's like, real classy, guys. And she basically has a go at them for basically trying to badger a like 22-year-old. I don't know how old Lauren is. Old enough to be able to make a decision, do you know what I mean? Anyway, less said on that. But the whole argument between them was just Rachel putting them on blast. But Loki, she's doing the same thing, but I think she knows that she's doing the same thing, and she's trying to guilt them into not using the veto as well, and just trusting that Mickey's going to be the person to go home this week. Either way, all of this effort was in vain from Rachel, because, well, we're about to see what happens next. So just before the veto meeting, like an hour before, they're all getting ready, they're all getting changed. Lauren comes up to Rachel and goes, I'm going to use the veto. And basically Rachel's like, that is fucked up of you, because now you've given me an hour. And then she's like, by the way, I'm putting up Reilly. I'm putting up one of your closest allies. And Laura's like, ah ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, she's bluffing. Yeah, she's bluffing. Yeah. Woo! I'm still using the veto, Rachel. Nice try. Nice try. I mean, you're meant to be the super fan, right? You know that Rachel doesn't bluff, right? That's the one thing that she doesn't do is bluff. If she says she's going to do something, she's going to do it. And if she says she's going to put Reilly up, she's going to put Reilly up. And juicy. This nomination ceremony, this veto meeting, might be the best one since Tucker gave his veto to Angela. Might genuinely be the best one. Purely because Lauren's like, oh, I'm going to use my veto on Vince. Yay, I've saved my ally. Woo! And then Rachel just does this to her. Reilly, get up there. And everyone's like, ah, what? Where did that come from? She didn't consult anybody. She just made the decision. She made the move. And Rachel Reilly does not miss. Oh my goodness. So Vince is putting himself in a very precarious situation at the moment inside the house. And I have to say, I don't know how it's going to work out for him. Because currently, he seems to have a final two deal with pretty much everybody in the house. I mean, he's got a final two deal with Keanu. He's got a final two deal with Lauren. I don't know why I'm saying the name so weird. But yeah, just too many weird, crazy things. I'm sorry, but Vince, you're playing a very dangerous game, and I don't know how I feel about it. You have Kelly as well. And Kelly came to you and was like, oh, is our final two deal still on? And he looked at her like, fuck, I forgot about that. That was day 2 that they made that final 2 agreement. And have they even worked together since? I don't think they have. So I don't really know what's going on there. But Vince clearly was like, yeah, we definitely still have, yeah, yes, absolutely, yeah. It just didn't seem genuine, and I can't believe that Kelly's not clocking it. I've been watching feeds a lot more in week 7 than I have before, purely because I'm in a time zone where I can be up to date with it and I'm not having to read 500 tweets in the morning. But it is very interesting to see that, especially for the latter half of this week, all of the conversations that were happening and everything that was going on, because honestly, this was absolutely insane. So Mickey and Catherine, they're in a really interesting spot because Mickey's on the block, but she's not acting like she's on the block. She's trying to run the house from on the block. And that's a bold move to make, especially when you're on the block and you could potentially be the one going home. It just doesn't really make sense why she's doing it like this. I mean, listen, she has done some crazy stuff so far in this game, and it's only getting crazier from here, because not only is she completely delusional, but she was on the block saying things like, oh, don't worry, she was like, I'll save Reilly. And I was like, but that means that one of you and Morgan has to go home. So what are we doing here? She was just saying some absolute crazy stuff last week that I was like, you actually are making no sense. Like, no sense whatsoever. I don't have receipts, unfortunately. I didn't think to note them down. But I remember reading them on, like, Twitter and being like, Mickey, you do know how to play this game, right? You do realise that if you're sitting next to Reilly, you can't vote to save Reilly, right? That is how it works, you know. That is how this works. But either way, her and Catherine, they were running the numbers, and obviously they were using M&Ms, which is Morgan's thing. So Morgan walks in and she sees M&Ms scattered between the pair of them, and she's like, I know exactly what's going on here. I know exactly what's going on here. I know exactly what's happening here. And please tell me, first of all, why Mickey is running numbers with Catherine, who wants to save Reilly. If Mickey doesn't win the blockbuster, she's going home. The current setup is Reilly could potentially go home against Morgan. Mickey goes home against Reilly or Morgan. So if Mickey is sat on that block at the end of, like, Thursday, she's gone. She's bye-bye, finito, adios. I hope you have a nice trip home because you're not making Jury House. And at this rate, she ain't. Because what is her gameplay currently? It's horrendous. She had such a good first 3 weeks. And then she got head of household and it's like her entire brain got toxified. I don't know how that happened. So Morgan is now very, very suspicious that Mickey is actively rooting against her, and she is. So she decides to go talk to Ashley, Will, and Rachel and come up with some kind of an alliance. They also rope in Vince, which was a very interesting change of events, especially because Rachel and Vince, they've been butting heads. They've been going at each other. They've been trying to get each other out of the house, and now they're in an alliance called the Judges because they get to decide who goes home. And I have to say, great alliance. I'm here for it. I like Vince. I like the fact that he's kind of this snivelly game player. He's playing both sides. Everybody knows he's playing both sides, but no one wants to call him out on playing both sides. And the fact that he's now aligned with Rachel, Ashley, Will, Morgan, who, I have to say, Morgan, you lost your stand card for a couple of episodes. For a couple of weeks, you lost it. I would say around about week 4 and week 5, you lost it. You were bad. Now week 6, yeah, I can get behind you. I can get behind it, okay? I can be on board with you now, okay? Week 7, listen, you're going to put in a shift and you're going to be rewarded for it, okay? So anyway, this new alliance, I have to say, very, very fascinating because there's only 11 people left at this point, I think. 5 people in an alliance is a big enough majority to control the votes, especially next week. Because, listen, only 4 people are needed next week, only 5 people are needed this week. So, really, big things are happening. Big things are happening here, and I'm super, super excited. Wait, is 4 needed next week, or is 4 needed to tie it? 4's needed to tie it. So therefore, they need 5 next week, which I reckon they'll have, especially with Mickey on board. But anyway, enough said. I'm delving too deeply into week 7. I'm sorry, guys. I'll save that for my week 7 review, which will be coming out before the end of next week, okay? You will have 2 in 1 week as I try to catch up and get on with week 8 at the same time. So anyway, let's move on to the blockbuster. Now, for me, I hate Reilly, right? That's my stance on this. I find him utterly repulsive. I really don't like the way that he was treating Catherine. I find him just not a very good person. So, the only acceptable outcome for me here was Mickey winning Blockbuster, which I also didn't want Mickey not to be on the block either. But I knew that if Mickey was on the block against either Reilly or Morgan, she was going home, Reilly would stay in, and we would lose our advantage on team Rachel, Ashley, Will, Morgan, Ava, I guess, I don't know. Will? Did I say Will in there? Anyway, my point being, Mickey had to win. So why was there some shenanigans going on in this? What were the shenanigans? What were the happenings of this challenge? Well, they had to roll it along, right? And it would drop in a thing and they'd have to get a score. But there was no camera on Mickey's lane for like a good while. And then all of a sudden, Reilly and Morgan both score like 28, 29, something like that. And they both lock in after Mickey's already locked in with a score of 38. Now, we didn't see her get this score of 38. We saw the other two get their scores of 29. But nobody saw her get that score of 38. So did she just place it in there? Did she get lucky? Like, I don't know what happened because the camera angles were all over the place. But either way, am I upset with this outcome? Not really. I have a feeling that they potentially might have rigged it for Reilly to go home just because of all the backlash he was getting. It would be better to remove him from the house now than to allow it to continue because especially this last week, it had been quite difficult to watch and unpleasant. So I do feel like there was an aspect to that, but Mickey winning, that was best possible outcome. I was sat at dinner watching this on my phone, propped up in the restaurant that we were at, because I was like, I need to know who wins this. And then I was like, okay, I need to stay for the voting as well. And my God, that was exciting. So as voting time comes around, the inevitable scramble for votes happened, and Rachel went straight up to Vincent, Ava, and was like, vote Reilly out. Keep Morgan, please. Honestly, you have to give her props to do. She is wheeling and dealing, and she's doing a fantastic job of it, and I absolutely love her for it. So big props to her, honestly. But the voting went as followed. Mickey voted for Reilly. I was surprised by that. I thought she would have voted Morgan out. Catherine voted for Morgan. Vince voted for Reilly. That surprised me. I really didn't expect that, and that was the first sign of me going, Reilly's going home. Ashley voted for Reilly. Will voted for Reilly. And then Ava voted for Reilly. She went into the room and she was like, you sure I can't vote for Mickey? That was hilarious. And then she was like, yeah, I'm voting for Reilly. Honestly, sucks. Bye, Reilly. Kelly voted for Morgan. Lauren voted for Morgan. Keanu voted for Morgan. So this was a split vote of 5-4. 5-4. That's mental. That is absolutely crazy. That is mental, especially at this point in time. 5-4, a split house going into top 10 and going into the wall challenge. They don't do it like this anymore. They don't do it like this anymore. It's incredible TV. It's absolutely incredible. We've been wanting to get Reilly out, and Rachel made it possible. So Reilly's walking out that door. He took forever to leave. He took so long to leave. Like, so unbelievably long that I was like, get out the door now or I'm going to kick you out. Do you know what I mean? So he got out, and he was like talking about how he ended up on the block and how he ended up going home. And he was like, oh, Rachel did a lot of manipulating. And then she was like, who do you blame for going home? This is Julie Chen. Who do you blame? And he went, myself. I could have won that blockbuster and I didn't. And I was like, you know what? I respect you a little bit more for that. I respect you a little bit more. You're blaming yourself for not saving yourself during the blockbuster. Okay, Reilly. Okay. Then Julie Chen, very sort of, she skirts around the issue of Catherine a little bit. And the fact that you said all these things, and he's like, oh, you guys heard that? Yeah, you're in the Big Brother house, mate. There's cameras everywhere. You've got a mic pack on you at all times. Do you think they're just there for decoration? Like, I don't understand. Honestly, anyway. But he left, he's gone, and they actually declined all interviews, CBS did, and I found that very, very interesting. The fact that platforms like Rob Has a Podcast and other people had interviews booked and lined up for him, they all got cancelled. All got cancelled. And so far, nobody has been able to hold him accountable yet, so that'll be very interesting to see whether that changes or not. So let's do a quick rundown of Rachel's head of household. Is it the first true good head of household that we've had? No, I would argue that Ava had a good head of household as well. Rachel, however, is the first person to make a huge, huge move in this game, okay? Taking out Reilly and forcing a 5-4 split in the house, that's how Rachel Reilly does this kind of thing. She has insulated herself so well with so many allies, and the fact that she managed to get Reilly out, who was also incredibly insulated and probably would have rode all the way to the end, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And she got him out before jury, because nobody wants a showmance in jury. How many times do I have to say this, guys? Nobody wants it. Get him out of here. Honestly, absolutely crazy, absolutely mental that Rachel managed to do all of that. I gotta give her props where props are due. She absolutely smashed it. Big props. But that is all we got time for today, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. Now make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so unbelievably well, and I will see you guys in the next episode, whenever that may be. But until then, make sure to keep on ranting, and I'll see you guys later. Bye now. See ya.